Antibiotics, basically a substance made from bacteria to fight bacteria. If your doctor suspects you have a secondary infection due to bacteria, he may give you a course of antibiotics. But what about a simple flu?
No, I don't think so. Unless the doctor says so.
One antibiotic around $4. So. Yeah, expensive one.
Even if I take something, it doesn't happen. Nothing happens.
Sometimes I'll take Panadol instead.
I have to consult doctor, so I get an antibiotic.
Antibiotics of whatever type does not even tickle the virus. Viruses are immune to antibiotics. So if you have a typical flu and you go to a doctor and the doctor looks into your throat and is very convinced that it is an uncomplicated influenza, there is actually very little ground for use of antibiotics. I know in my practice, patients come in telling me, oh, I've got a flu, I like some antibiotics. And I think this is absolutely a wrong approach.
The fact is, our body has its own mechanisms to fight the virus. It creates antibodies to do the job and makes us immune to that virus in the process. Antibiotics, on the other hand, can sometimes do more harm than good. In 1993, some 5.4 million visits to the doctors were for the flu. Yet few of us would think of getting a vaccination against the flu, as we would for, say, hepatitis. The fact is, vaccination against the flu virus has limited use. The virus mutates so fast that any vaccination may be ineffective within a year. But in colder countries, vaccination, especially for the old, may well be a lifesaver in the winter months. In Moscow last year, 500,000 people came down with the flu. The number of deaths is not known. Such epidemics are not all that rare. But the worst yet, the Spanish flu of 1918 to 1919. In 1918, they hadn't even discovered the virus. But now we know the cause of such a pandemic. We're not taking any chances. The World Health Organization has some 85 centers around the world, including Singapore, monitoring the virus, as well as the flu seasons.
We have two major flu seasons. One in the mid-year, corresponding to the southern hemisphere, and one in, let's say, November, December, January, which corresponds to the northern climates.
Go less out of those noisy places, those places with a lot of people.
Try to avoid from all the dirty places.
Take more vitamin C, it's good for you.
Once a person gets a cold, you get away from me, move away from me, try not to get close to people who have flu.
Avoidance. Well, that's one way to keep the bug away. A bit antisocial, but it'll work anyway. However, if you don't want to risk losing your friends, what else can you do? Is there something else that we can do to protect ourselves from the bug?
Take more vitamin C. That's a refrain you'd probably heard many times before. It's certainly important in our diet, but some people believe that it can protect you against the flu bug or even cure you of the flu.
This is a controversial issue. There are some who would say, yes, it works because research have shown it works. And there are some who would say, yeah, it works, but it's very marginal and the benefit is hardly anything. Vitamin C should be used only in the early, very early. In fact, it's meant to be used even before the symptoms appear. Once the symptoms have appeared for flu, there's no point taking the vitamin C, actually.
What's most effective when you're down with the flu is plenty of rest and fluids. But the flu aside, we do need some 30 milligrams of vitamin C daily, roughly an orange a day.
An orange a day to keep the doctor away. Whilst I'm not too sure about that, it'll certainly help if you keep a healthy lifestyle. A balanced diet, enough rest and exercise. The flu bug will always be around, but you don't have to succumb. Now, before we go, here are just a few more of your questions. diabetes? A result of too much sugar, or is there more to the story? Call us with your questions on diabetes at Healthline 1-800-742-2066. Until then, have a good week ahead, and remember, health matters.
Coming up after News 5 tonight, stay tuned to another hilarious episode of Alan.
This program has been brought to you by Vitagen, the true cultured milk drink.